Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are joined by Dr. Kimberly Jackson, founder and CEO of Coach Kimberly International, a pioneer in executive and leadership coaching, a PhD, MCC, and early adopter of corporate digital learning. She launched her coaching company in 1992 under the guidance of Dr. Stephen Covey and Thomas Leonard, legends in the space. Her firm empowers leaders globally, blends coaching with strategic consulting, and she hosts the She's Up podcast to inspire resilience and leadership agility. Kimberly, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Anytime. I'm excited to dive in. I always like to take things back to the beginning. So can you take us on a trip down memory lane to before you started your company? What were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting Coach Kimberly International?
So, I actually started out in corporate America. Actually, no, I'll rewind. I started out with a passion for education and growth, learning, and thought I was going to be a school teacher.
Mm,
And realized really quickly I could handle the little people, but I was a little challenged by the adults. And I always wanted to take any stray challenge home, and especially like a stray cat, stray dog. And so my family realized really quickly that that was probably not the right space for me. So my dad, who was a very successful entrepreneur, said, "You know what? I think she's going to need a mentor and she's going
mm,
to need to make a decision." And for me, that mentor was Dr. Stephen Covey, who
wow.
became like my second dad.
Wow.
And he helped me go into corporate where I excelled. I did really well. Before I was 27, I was an EVP
Wow.
reporting to the CEO in the world's largest financial services company. So I got my business chops on really early between my family and their entrepreneurial ventures. I used to go and hang out in boardrooms when I was like 6 years old. But I really thrived in the business environment. But when I was noticing that other than going to another company and already reporting to the CEO, I didn't see a runway for me. And I had the entrepreneurial bug, obviously from childhood. So I was talking to Stephen and explaining to him I had already conquered some things in corporate. For example, before the internet existed, we created online learning and online test taking and corporate universities. And so realizing that I could simply go to another company or I could go out on my own. So
Mm,
before we got started, I had a pretty intensive corporate background, which helped me, but also hindered me when I first got started. And I have a feeling some of that will come up in the other questions that you ask. But that's what I was doing before we kicked off.
wow. Very powerful. And for those that aren't didn't put two and two together, Dr. Stephen Covey wrote Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yes, that was actually an idea when he and I first met.
Wow. No way.
So I went through the seven habits, principle centered leadership, first things first. And his best friend, Hiram Smith, who is productivity guru, day runner, daytimers, went through all the iterations when he first launched a paper planner and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I remember when I was in grade 9 or grade 10 or something, I read Seven Habits of Highly Effective Teens, and that just changed. I think it was written by his son, actually, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, he's had a couple books. The one on trust is like really good.
Okay.
And he has some stuff on, well, actually, Franklin Covey, with how all that came about, is a whole other story. But they have another book, a program called Execution,
Okay.
which is really good, especially for entrepreneurs who always like to ideate. It's
Mm,
really hard when one of my biggest struggles is being a visionary and being a pioneer, the actual execution.
Yeah.
When do you know to cut bait? When do you know to move forward? All those fun things.
And that's a book by Franklin Covey?
It's a program
Okay,
on
got
execution,
it.
but they
Yeah.
do have a book out called The Eighth Habit that's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I'll also check out Trust as well. Um,
Yeah.
let's fast forward to today, because obviously your coaching company has been around for a long time. So I'm curious where you're at
Mhm.
today in terms of who is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with? And then from there, what are the different offers and services that you provide?
So yeah, so it's evolved. We're 33 years old. I'm not a solo practitioner. I've had over 7,000 coaches and consultants work for me
Wow.
globally.
Wow.
So I am the founder of the Global Leadership Brain Trust, where we're a very boutique group of experts. So for me, if someone wanted to be able to work with me, which it's a good thing for me, but not a good thing for others, that it's a very long wait list. I've
Mm.
had clients for 10 to 20 years.
Wow.
So looking at capacity and bandwidth is important. But I really enjoy the C-suite. That's my sweet spot. Normally working with the chairman of the board, the CEO, the COO. But I love founders. I love
Mm.
startups and people who are innovating and they're wearing all the hats
Yeah.
and they're trying to figure out, okay, what hat am I wearing today? Or I call it the leadership lens. Which lens are you looking through today?
Mm.
Because you need to wear so many, especially in startup mode,
Yeah.
and how you go from being a founder to the CEO
Mm.
is a very interesting transition, one that I learned a lot of valuable lessons because you want to keep the entrepreneurial mindset, but you need to learn how to operate in a corporate structure. So
Yeah.
that's what you would call an intrapreneur, right?
Yeah.
An entrepreneur inside a corporate system. The company overall, we support emerging leaders, women in leadership, executives. We do a lot with teams. We do coach led learning, offsites for teams. And there's a little bit of a difference on who comes to me and who I pour into versus the organization and who can support them. But we like to be very agile
Yeah.
and we keep a roster. I actually developed one of the very first coaching rosters over 25 years ago. I used to do a lot of business with Jack Welch at
Yeah.
GE before Jack passed away, and Arthur Blank, and when he was launching the Home Depot. And we learned that big companies would come in and you would pay a premium to have one key expert and then a lot of second string. And we like to have everyone be a road course ringer. So anyone
Mm.
who knows me knows I like sports cars and racing. So we like to use the analogy of when NASCAR would go to a road course, since it's not what they
Yeah.
typically would do, they'd bring in a driver that they had a much better chance of winning, and they're referred to as the road course ringers. And being able to bring in, so what we normally will say is if we can fully understand the scope of where you are and where you want to go, the transformation that your organization is looking to have, then we can fulfill any expanded scope of work
Mm.
because we have a global network. We work in throughout the US, Europe, Canada, the Middle East, Asia, South America. So we're blessed to have access globally.
Yeah. So you still have 7,000 coaches that work underneath you?
No, what I have done, that's where I started building out. And about 10 years ago, I got to a point where I wanted to scale back
Mm.
and just have the option to tap resources as I needed them. So for anyone who owns a business, having payroll and that many people is a massive burden. So
Yeah,
we scaled back on who was on payroll and who was on contract and paid per project.
got it.
So my network is probably over 20,000 strong now,
Wow. Wow. But not obviously not all on payroll, but you
but
can
not on pay. No,
get them on
absolutely
the,
not.
yeah. Bring them in, sub them in as needed, so to speak.
Yes.
Wow, that is very powerful. I'm curious today what your focus is after 3 decades in business. What is what are you really driving towards? What goals are you looking at?
So I'm in my legacy making years. Most people my age would be retired by now. And so I am really passionate about advancing the partnership between people, leaders, and coaches,
Mm,
and really looking at from where coaching began when Thomas and I were having our first conversations to where it is now, that it's truly a partnership. So I like to say coaches are not conversationalists, they are change agents.
mm,
If you have a coach that you feel is a conversationalist, you might be experiencing counseling, not coaching,
mm,
because coaching should deliver an objective outcome and a transformation if you're going to make that level of investment.
yeah.
So, right now, what I'm focusing on is shoring up that partnership between people, leaders, and coaches. I'm passionate about advancing women in those fields. I have
Mm,
done so much work with so many C suite, and I've been on 27 road shows when companies go public, and it's predominantly male.
mm,
So, in my legacy years, I'm really trying to also help advance women
yeah.
and what I call the coachpreneur. You need to understand business. While you're a coach, you're also an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. And
Yeah.
how can you journey with other business people, leaders, without that business acumen? So I'm trying to merge all of my experiences from what I know about big business and the complexity of business to the coaching world.
Mm,
And so our company tagline is inspire greatness, transform lives, change culture.
mm. I love
So
it.
that's really, I believe humanity has a huge capacity for greatness and capable of doing great things. And
Yeah.
so we're really focusing on how do we advance humanity in doing three things: living in harmony with themselves, with each other, and with the planet. And that
Mm,
is done through self leadership and leading others and
yeah.
leading teams of teams.
I
So
love that.
that's really what I'm driving at right now.
I love that. So does that look like doing more of what you're already doing, different offerings? What would that practically look like?
So I really want to see coaching fully democratized.
Mm,
So coaching has been either a perk or a punishment.
okay.
We're going to coach you up and out, see if you're can we salvage you?
Yeah.
Or we really believe in you and you have high potential. And so here's a perk. I want coaching to be available to everyone.
Mm,
Now, because of AI, which I'm very involved with, I teach master classes on the role of AI in the world of human development.
wow.
Because part of my background, pioneering human development, is also pioneering in technology. So I want to see that harmony that can exist with people and tech. There are quite a few people that are fearful of some of what's happening with AI. And I'm really trying to show the benefits of
Yeah.
that and how does coaching complement that.
Yeah.
So again, democratizing coaching. And I'll give an example of something that's different. A lot of companies have EAP, an employee assistance program. And if you're going through some type of a challenge or a hardship, let's say someone in your family got diagnosed with cancer, or you were widowed, or you're struggling, you're anxious about money, things like that, your employer will sponsor you for 6 sessions with a counselor. Most companies had that EAP program. What we're wanting to see is companies bring in coaches and
Mm,
sponsor 6 coaching sessions because
mm,
a coach goes as deep as you can, as fast as you can, gets you unstuck and moving forward,
mm.
not reliving what's going on or how you got there.
Yeah,
It's all about meet you where you are and get you where you want to go.
yeah,
So I really would like to see some big shifts and changes,
yeah.
especially with, we have, especially in the States, but it is prevalent throughout the globe because we know this from our clientele, is our mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And we have fewer founders because people who typically, like me, when before you launch something, you might be leaving corporate,
Yeah.
right? Unless
Yeah.
you're Zuck when he was in college and said, "Hey, let me start this thing." And I apologize, Mark Zuckerberg with Meta, which most people will know as Facebook.
Yeah.
Because most are leaving corporate, we have fewer founders because more people are experiencing burnout. So I really want to be able to focus on the well-being of leaders so they can be more innovative and they can eventually become founders and
Hmm.
strike out on their own
I love that.
or do something different inside a company. I'll give you an example. And it's cute in a way because I'm having dinner with this person this evening. But I coached an executive who's now retired at a company called UPS, and he was the brain behind the UPS store
Mm,
and doing the buyout of mailboxes, etc. So he was a corporate citizen, but he acted as an intrapreneur. So while he created the UPS store for UPS, he has that founder mentality. He was able to do that because he was not in a place of overwhelm and burnout while he was at UPS.
mm.
Where today companies are struggling to innovate, but and because if you're not innovating, you're dying.
Yeah.
But how do you do that if you're overwhelmed and burnt out?
Yeah. Wow. Kimberly, you shared a lot of different things, and there's so many different rabbit holes that I can go down with you. I wish I had 2 hours to speak, but
It's okay.
one thing that I would love to know more of, because you mentioned the coachpreneur and helping them understand more of the business aspect of things. That's something that I love to talk about here on this podcast, specifically when it comes to how do you generate leads, how do you put together an offer, what does the sales process look like? How can we make all of that
Hmm.
predictable, consistent, and repeatable so that we can truly build an organization that runs like a legit business? So I would love for you to talk about your lead generation strategies right now, what you're finding to be the most effective, and any tips that you have for coaches that want to approach their business more like a business.
Yeah. So I am the founder of Coachpreneur School,
Okay.
and our summer cohort kicks off July 29th. I have a unique framework. However, this framework is applicable to all business owners, although I will tailor it very specifically for coaches. But it is around how you attract your ideal client, your onboarding of them, how you partner and serve and work with them, how you offboard them and then continue to nurture them. So,
Mm,
our number one growth strategy is referral. So, recommendations, referrals, and repeat business. And so, I think it's so important. A lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, they don't have a customer success playbook. So, how they onboard someone, how they offboard someone, and keep in touch and nurture can be a game changer because once you've already built trust and had
yeah.
an impact, it's so much easier. So, we have a question we always ask. So, when we're talking to a client and they're letting us know how fabulous we are, and they'll always say, "Is there anything I could do for you?" Which amazes me because I'm like, you just paid us a pretty penny to help you, but I love that you want to turn around and say, "What can we do?" And the question is, who do you know that I should know? It's a very powerful question. And even when you're talking to a prospect, and you might be coming to the end of your consultation, and maybe between the two of you, you've even realized maybe this isn't a good fit.
Yeah.
To still ask the question, who do you know that I should know? Because someone who's experiencing something usually knows someone else who's experiencing something similar. So I think one of the best growth strategies is referral, but you have to start somewhere, right? You have to have existing happy clients to get referrals. So I think one of the best ways is through thought leadership. To be able to build trust, add value is huge. Right now, I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of time on social media and developing reels. And if that's your thing, no judgment from me. But we know from spending hundreds of thousands to probably near 1 million in really testing out A/B strategies, what to do on social media. Organic growth is very hard. You would normally have to use paid ads, and the algorithms are changing all the time. So I think having thought leadership and always having something to invite people to so they can experience you. So whether that's you host a vlog or a podcast that has a video component as well, you're on potentially Substack and you have thought leadership out, but always having something where people can experience you and be able to feel like they're building a relationship is one of the best ways.
Yeah.
But again, to me, the number one growth strategy is by repeat business and referral.
Yeah. I'm super curious what you're going to say to this.
Okay.
Right now, at this stage of your career, what do you feel like is the biggest challenge that you're facing as a business owner? Is it, yeah, walk me through that.
Yeah. So as a coach, I have a coach. I actually have more than one coach. And one of the things I'm working on, my lessons are you can't do everything for everyone.
Mm,
And really knowing your own boundaries are huge. What your niche is, what's the impact you want to make. Another thing that's a challenge is when you generate a lot of revenue, knowing what to do with the revenue and how much of that revenue is actually profit. Do you have a profit margin? Something that happens in the coaching world a lot is people will spend money before they've earned it because
mm,
you normally prepay for coaching.
yeah.
And so learning a lot of the ins and outs in business over the years has been very helpful. But even now, thinking through, so I have a board of advisors and a chairman and prepping and getting feedback. I recently had a huge lesson learned that cost me over 6 figures.
Mm,
So even when you've been in business for multiple decades and you've done 9, 10 figures, you're always learning. So
yeah.
I always like to say, today is a brand new day and it's okay to fail forward, Kimberly.
Yeah. I like
As
that a lot.
long as you're failing forward, you're doing okay.
That's a powerful lesson. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
If they're on LinkedIn, I'm Coach Kimberly on LinkedIn, but you can also go to coachkimberly.com. And there's lots of different ways on there for people to message me. But DM me on LinkedIn is like probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
And there's a cohort you said this summer.
Yeah, Coachpreneur School kicks off July 29th.
How can people get involved with that?
Probably the best thing right now would be to DM me because the landing page goes up July 1st. So depending upon when your episode airs, but going to coachkimberly.com, it's going to be easy to be able to communicate with me.
Awesome. Kimberly, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thanks again for having me.
Yeah, anytime. I do definitely want to have you on again. So if you're open to it, I'd love
I'd
to,
love it.
set something up in the future. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're a business owner and you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.